What is up, y'all? Naturegirl 30 here, and this is my predictions for Clash of Champions. Clash of Champions. Sound like I said Clash. Well, you get what I mean. And yeah, I do have Star Wars in the background, but other than that, let's just get started with this prediction video. Now, we have 5 championship matches and 3 standalones, I do believe. Yep, that is true. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 championship matches and 3 standalones. So let's get started with the kickoff match with Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax. If Alicia Fox actually wins this one, then everything that Nia Jax did that Raw prior on the Go Home show by pretty much putting her straight through a barricade was pointless. I highly doubt that chick is going to develop any sort of energy or power to beat the crap out of Nia Jax. And honestly, Alicia Fox needs to have the crap beat out of her. Sorry, no offense to her, but I still to this day think that her win is a fluke. She hasn't necessarily proved to me that she actually did get that win. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the chick is extraordinarily aggressive in the ring, let alone, I mean, she can probably break a chick's neck if she wasn't very careful. But other than that, Nia Jax is a complete beast, and they need to make her into a beast. And I hope that she actually does win, but I'm hoping it's not going to be a squash match, but something is telling me it's going to be. This is something that should be built up as a feud. Not so much as a kickoff match, but it should be a feud. But unfortunately, it's not going to be, so of course my win is going to be towards Nia Jax. So I actually said that Nia Jax is going to win this one, so Nia Jax will win. Let's move on to the standalone matches, and then I'll get into the championship matches because this is what this pay-per-view is about, Clash of Champions. But I digress. Let's move on from there. Now, the first match that I really want to talk about is actually going to be Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho. What is there to say about this? I'm tired of Jericho winning. I really am. Jericho does not need to win any more matches. He's already cemented his legacy. He just needs to be the guy that actually puts over the new guys. So it should be Sami Zayn winning here, even though the feud between both of them is minor. It's not anything that counts. I'm tired of Sami Zayn being in random matches. He needs to have a decent feud leading on up to some type of title. He needs to have some kind of substance, purpose in why he's in these feuds instead of just being in one. But other than that, I digress. Sami Zayn for the win over Jericho. Unless Jericho's big ego gets in the way, then Jericho's going to win. But I'm just going to say Sami Zayn and move on from there. Now let's talk about Cesaro versus Sheamus in the best of 7 series. Yeah. These guys put on spectacular matches every night. I'm not going to deny that. But it was kind of obvious that Cesaro is going to be coming up and tying everything up for this to actually be on Clash of Champions. Do I believe that Cesaro is going to win here? No, because Cesaro always gets stiffed pretty much every single time. And I highly doubt that he is going to get an epic win here. It's probably going to be a very bad finish. Probably a usual heel finish with him cheating. And more than likely, Sheamus is going to be the guy to win. So unfortunately, my vote is to Sheamus. Even though I want Cesaro to win, but my vote goes to Sheamus for the win in the best of 7 series. And hopefully we'll find out what title they'll be going after. Okay, so let's get started with the championship matches. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the cruiserweights because I love me the cruiserweights. And in my opinion, this is going to be an amazing match and possibly the main event of the night, the second main event of the night. I still believe that maybe the Universal Championship is going to probably be the main event of the night. But let's get started with the Cruiserweight Championship with TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. I do not believe that Brian Kendrick is going to win. TJ Perkins is a modern style technical wrestler while you have Brian Kendrick, who is a classic heel type of wrestler. He's a classic heel technical wrestler. So you're going to have the classic version versus the modern version. TJ Perkins is always in your face, show off, while Brian Kendrick not only uses strategy, he has more of a classic cheesy heel tactic when it comes to his performances. So do I believe that Brian Kendrick is going to take it? No. I do not believe he's going to take it away from TJ Perkins because that guy has something that, I mean, not only is TJ Perkins new to the brand itself, the guy has a lot to offer and he does make it look easy in the ring. Brian Kendrick should just be the guy that just allow him to win. His career is not over. By any means, it's not over. They're trying to make it seem like he's the underdog. He has only one chance in his life. He doesn't. The one thing I'm going to say about Brian Kendrick is he's an excellent wrestler. It's going to be an amazing match, but I do not see him winning here. TJ Perkins is going to retain the title, retain the Cruiserweight title over Brian Kendrick. Moving on to the Raw Tag Team Championships with the New Day versus Gallows and Anderson. Gosh, have Gallows and Anderson win, because the New Day is so over that they don't even need to have the belts anymore. It's not so much the belts that make the man. It's the man that makes the belt. And I know that we have a women's championship, whatever. But in this case, it's the man that makes the belt. The man has already made the belt, but now the belt's no longer needed, so it's just a complete belt buckle to them. That's just how I see it. They are over with their merch. They are over with the crowd. They don't need they even over with Francesca. They don't need the belts anymore. So I'm hoping that they actually do lose it this time to Anderson and Gallows, because if they're bringing back their hardcore, their hardcore gimmick that I highly doubt it's going to be the whole Bullet Club hardcore gimmick they had in New Japan. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive now, and that's the one thing that I want. We need some aggressive heel champions. I'm hoping that Gallows and Anderson actually does win, but we can't. And the one thing I can say is this: they can set up when Finn Balor comes back, if it happens, if they execute it, which I doubt. If they actually bring back the club, but instead of the Bullet Club, it's the Balor Club, and he actually comes back and takes the title away and has the Balor Club to be a dominant faction. Well, more like a group. I guess they're more like a group. But yeah, have them as a dominant group. We need a dominant group. Seriously. We need a dominant faction in the WWE. We haven't had one in so long since the Authority. So honestly, I am hoping that might happen. If Gallows and Anderson wins, I'm hoping that Finn Balor will take the belt back and somehow they get back together and possibly make the Balor Club to be a dominant faction in the WWE. Well, so much just for Raw. But other than that, my vote goes to Gallows and Anderson for the win. The New Day's already beat the record. They don't need it anymore. Gallows and Anderson for the win. Okay, let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship with Sasha Banks and Charlotte, with Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Bayley. I really don't think that Bayley needs to be inserted in this. I think it should be Sasha Banks and Charlotte. But honestly, this is going to be a mess of a match. I'm sorry. It really is. It's not going to be the same as it was at WrestleMania 32. That was like literally the pinnacle of the pinnacle. And you also had Becky Lynch that has been on the main roster for a while. And then you had Sasha Banks and Charlotte that's been on the main roster for a while. And Bayley just showed up. She's trying to get her bearings. I'm hoping it's not going to be a mess of a match. That's the one thing I'm hoping it won't be, because of the disorganization of it all. But Bayley is an amazing performer. We know this from NXT, but NXT is far different than it is on the main roster because you have to tone it down. She has to tone down her aggression, and I'm noticing that that's what she's trying to do, and she's struggling with it for a little bit. But she's going to get better, but this is way too early. But in my opinion, the fact that Bayley is way over than Sasha Banks and Charlotte, I highly doubt that Sasha's going to take it here. She had a 3-week title reign. What makes you think they're going to give it back to her? They're either going to give it to Charlotte or Bayley. And in my opinion, it's going to be Bayley. So my vote goes to Bayley for the win. Even though I want Sasha to get her title back, they're a little iffy and weird when it comes to Sasha Banks actually having the belt. So in my opinion, it's going to go to Bayley. She's the safest bet. Bayley for the win over Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Okay. Move on to the U.S. Championship with Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Hopefully this is going to be an actual match, because they put on a really great match on Raw and then they did nothing for SummerSlam. So they got to bring their A game this time. But in my opinion, they got to turn Roman heel. Roman is more of a heel in this entire feud than Rusev could ever be. Just because he's Bulgarian does not mean he's a heel. The guy had his wife, Roman Reigns insulted his wife Lana multiple times, as well as insulting her with a cake during their whole wedding thing. Yes, they're supposed to be heels, but in my opinion, Roman Reigns acted more like a heel than Rusev could ever act. If they really do want this to work well, because regardless, you're going to have people booing Roman Reigns. Have him go full-fledged heel. Have him go heel against Rusev. And have Rusev retain the title. Because Rusev has done an amazing job being a dominant heel for that championship. Roman Reigns don't even want the freaking belt. Have him be a dominant heel. If they have Roman Reigns win, it's going to be bad not only for him, it's going to make the entire, in my opinion, it's going to make the company look bad. So don't have Roman Reigns win. Rusev for the win, that's my vote. Moving on to the final match of the night, which is going to probably be the main event. And I'm not just because it is the main event. It's going to be the main event performance of the night, in my opinion. WWE Universal Championship on the line with Chris Jericho. I'm thinking of the Undisputed. Anyway, Kevin Owens, and that happens to be his best friend or his bae or whatever you call it. But yeah, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins for the Universal title. Okay, this is going to be really easy. Kevin Owens for the win. Now, everybody is literally going out of their mind with all kinds of theories saying that Triple H is going to come out and help Kevin Owens. I really do believe that Triple H was just out there just to beef up the ratings for Raw. That's just my humble opinion of it. They just brought him out there to beef up the ratings for Raw. They're not going to have any explanation for this. And I'm hoping that Kevin Owens just wins clean. Because he's already got a little bit of a tarnished reputation, seeing how the Triple H helped him out, and he didn't win clean. If he wins clean over Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins has nothing else to say. But if they continue this feud, then yeah, they're going to bring out Triple H. They're going to have, oh, Triple H, oh! Even though I think the guy should just disappear behind the scenes and stay gone. But of course, his ego is not going to allow that to happen. So yeah, we're going to probably see him again. But other than that, more than likely, there's going to probably be some kind of interference from Triple H if they decide to extend this feud, which I highly think they're going to do. So we're going to actually see Kevin Owens going to retain the title in a false finish. Not really a false finish, but with a really bad, crappy finish with Triple H interfering with Seth Rollins. Unless Seth Rollins is going to feud with Triple H, and that might happen. I don't know. But other than that, Kevin Owens for the win. But guys, those are my votes. Those are who I believe is going to win for Clash of Champions. Who do you think is going to win? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. Let me know who you think is going to win. And let me know whether or not you're going to watch it. I am curious to hear what you guys think. Naturegirl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.